Good morning, my brothers and sisters. Welcome to this, a special bonus episode recording of the Good Morning Guys podcast. We are doing what I'm referring to as GMG Reacts.
Oh,
Yeah. And specifically, we are reacting this morning to a little old movie, the little movie that could, that didn't, and then it could. Um, a little movie called Zack Snyder's Justice League, which Patrick, first of all, my podcasting co-host here, Mr. Patrick Novosel, how you doing, man?
good. I'm excited. We haven't talked about this
Yeah,
yet, and
buddy.
I'm excited.
You were absolutely itching to talk about this.
Yes, I
So,
was itching to talk about this before I saw it, and after I saw it, I'm like, yes, let's talk about this 100%.
absolutely. Yeah, so this movie has had a long and winding road. Of course, from the original release in 2017. Um, I believe that was, I want to say it was May 2017. I can't
Can't
remember.
remember.
Can't remember. Doesn't matter
Yeah.
because that movie is effectively dead.
Yes, that. So Eric Estep, he had messaged me, and he's like, "Should I watch the Justice League?" I'm like, "No, you do not need to watch the original Justice League."
Yep.
He asked me this after he watched the Zack Snyder cut, and I'm like, "No, you don't need to go back and watch that. There is no reason to watch that movie now."
Yep. That movie is absolutely the inferior product. Obviously, this road kind of started with. Man of Steel didn't have a very visceral reaction. Everybody, pretty much liked it. Okay, there were some that didn't, but
Yeah,
for,
it was a good movie. It
yeah.
wasn't bad.
But the real stir up was when Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice came out, and there was a very polarized reaction to it. Some people loved it. Some people absolutely hated Zack Snyder's direction and a lot of the choices that he made. And obviously there was some big backlash, and so WB became a little reactionary to it, a little over reactionary to it, if you will.
Yeah,
And so that combined, obviously, with unfortunately Zack Snyder, the director, he had to step off the project after shooting for a little while because unfortunately his daughter Autumn committed suicide, and so obviously he and his wife Deborah needed time to heal
yeah,
and grieve. Um,
understandably so.
yeah, and so then Joss Whedon stepped on board,
Good
and
old Joss.
I can't believe that the same guy that created the first two Avengers films was the director of those, directed this movie.
Yeah, so after watching the Zack Snyder Justice League cut, I'm like, did Joss just run that movie into the ground because he was in Marvel and he just wanted to shoot DC in the foot? Like it was so bad.
Some men just want to watch the world burn.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, but obviously, yeah, that movie did not do well either. And so obviously, after all that, there was this heavily rumored Snyder cut. There were different actors, different people who worked on the film that said, there is a version of this film that Zack did, and it is not the movie that came out in 2017. And so lots of the fans campaigned in so many incredible ways, whether it being like advertisements in Times Square with the hashtag release the Snyder cut, and comic conventions, things like that, where they really, really rallied support to see this movie get made. And then, of course, finally, last year, HBO Max, with the start of their streaming service, and Zack Snyder came out and announced that this movie was being made and was being finished and put on HBO Max. And so here we are. It came out on Thursday the 18th. And so here are our reactions to Zack Snyder's Justice League. Pat, I will let
Yes.
you do the honors. What
Okay.
what were some major changes you noticed? What did you like? What did you not like?
Okay, sure. Yeah. First off, I'm gonna give you a 2-word review.
Okay.
Holy crap.
Mm-hmm.
This
Mm-hmm.
this movie was so different. Like, oh my gosh, if this was 4 hours long, what I would say maybe 20 minutes of it was the same
Yeah,
scenes
yeah,
from the Joss Whedon Justice League. It's so wildly different. Um, I loved this was like a slow burn. The felt that the beginning of this movie, totally different from where the other Justice League movie started with that weird video camera from someone's phone with
so glad that's gone.
yeah, there was no mustache gate in this movie, which
Yeah,
was awesome. The CG was it could have been better, but it wasn't the best, but I was able to look past that. I was like, hey, this was a movie that really was on the cutting room floor and they're putting this together.
yeah,
And so it was good in that part. But it really the best thing I loved about this movie was the character development. We got a cyborg backstory.
yeah,
We got a Flash backstory. We got more of Aquaman. We got more of Wonder Woman. We even saw Martian Manhunter
yeah,
in this movie,
absolutely.
which he is like an important part of getting Lois out of the house and back into the real world, which transitions into one of the biggest pivotal scenes in this movie.
Yeah,
It was so good to see this backstory, which because they had these backstories all developed and fleshed out for this movie, it hit at certain points in the movie. It landed,
yeah,
and the way they transitioned into the different plot points. Okay, this makes more sense. Some of the jokes that were in Justice League that kind of Flash was doing,
yeah,
they landed in this episode or in this cut because we got a little bit more of like, oh, that's who he is. That's
yeah,
why he's doing this, and
absolutely.
yeah, it was really really good. I watched 4 hours of this movie and I wanted more. That's how much I was enjoying this. Like I thought 4 hours, that's a long movie. And the way they cut it, prologue, 6 chapters, epilogue, it kind of split it up a little bit. So again, I guess it tricked my mind into thinking it wasn't that long of a movie.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, I love this movie. I think the epilogue, for one, was too long. I think it could have been 10 minutes shorter because it felt disjointed.
yeah. I
I mean,
think I think Zach, what he was trying to do with that basically is he doesn't know if things are going to continue after his cut of the movie. He
yeah,
doesn't know what WB's thinking. I mean, he may know now,
hmm
given that the movie is doing very well. I mean, it literally in several parts of the country it caused HBO Max to crash. That's how big this movie was.
yeah,
And so he may have a better idea now, but when they were cutting the movie, it's like, well, I may not be getting a chance to revisit this. So I'm going to add some things here that would have been potentially a part of the subsequent sequels, because he actually came out closer to the release of the movie. He actually released the storyboards that they did for all of the movies that he had planned on doing, Justice League and its two sequels,
yeah,
and with some incredible artwork by Jim Lee, very well known comics artist. And he basically laid everything out, and so he wanted to pull, it seemed like, some of that and put that into this movie. Especially Batman's scenes with the Joker. He wanted people to have a chance to see them interact if he wasn't going to be visiting this again, and all of those type of things. So yeah, I totally get what you're saying there. I just think he was trying to push some stuff in just so that he could give people a little bit more in case he could never visit this stuff again.
well, yeah. I mean, like, I say that it's disjointed and it could have been shorter, but it also has me intrigued.
Yeah,
Like, Lois dies and Superman goes on a rampage, and that's basically the Injustice movies or the,
yeah,
the Injustice games. So I would love to see this. Now, are we gonna get another Justice League movie? Most likely not. I am not holding my breath on that. But because this movie is so different and so well done and so well received, could we get Henry Cavill and Ben Affleck back, possibly.
Yeah.
But I'm not holding my breath on that.
Yeah. Yeah, I basically all the changes and I think it best when I actually just posted this on Twitter. I found a meme online. If you remember the scene where they've just encountered Superman after he's been resurrected, and
Yeah.
Aquaman and Flash are kind of like smashed into the steps there, and
Yeah.
Aquaman turns to Flash and like points at him,
Uh-huh.
and Flash is like, "I'm so sorry." Well, somebody put um, Zack Snyder's Justice League, the logo in Aquaman's spot, and WB's logo in Flash's spot.
Yeah.
um,
That's funny.
so yeah, a lot of these changes, like WB, what were you thinking? You should have left it alone. I know you were trying to react and be on the defensive, because you're putting a lot of money behind this movie, and you want to see it do well. And so, but you should have just left it alone. You should have left Zach to his devices. Let him figure it out, and just let it go. Because we got an infinitely better movie than 2017's cut.
Yeah, and you're talking about the moment when Superman gets resurrected. That entire scene was so much more impactful
Yeah,
because it took us what 2.5 hours, almost 3 hours to actually get to that point.
yeah,
And we actually saw all of the Justice League members together,
yeah,
and the reason why they're together and how long it took for them to get together. So that like climax made more sense. It just hit harder
yeah,
because of that. And it was so good. We didn't get to see why won't you let me die. We didn't get that. We didn't get that line, which was fantastic.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah. Yeah, I will agree with you there. A lot of the characters' backstories were fleshed out, given room to breathe.
Yeah.
Even the villains' motivations, like Steppenwolf in 2017. I'll refer to it as Justice League.
Yeah.
Basically,
That's good.
he was a very one note and very awkward villain that really didn't have that much motivation. But in this cut, they flesh that out. They reveal that Steppenwolf is basically trying to get in Darkseid back in his good graces after he attempted to overthrow Darkseid, and the cost of that and his punishment is I think he said like 100,000 worlds he needed to take over in order to repay his debt. And so this is Steppenwolf trying to get back in those good graces and please Darkseid. And so they really fleshed that out. Obviously, we get to see more of Darkseid, which is awesome. We get to see him in this movie on a couple of different occasions, which is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
We even see some lower level New Gods characters like Desaad, and towards the very end, you actually see Granny Goodness, which that's a weird character, but still very much part of Darkseid's inner circle, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, definitely Cyborg's story was a lot more necessary here.
Yeah. Yes.
I think it was a lot more impactful of how Silas Stone, his dad, basically sacrificed himself
Right.
to help his son and show his son that he's proud of him, and that he wants to encourage him to do good with these abilities that he's been given, because up until this point Cyborg sees himself as just a monster, and a monster of his father's creation. Just all of those things that should have never been left out.
Yeah, like when Silas, when he sacrificed himself to make the mother box really hot so they could find this mother box and where they were hiding it, because Batman has like 6 satellites. And so they go there, and the battle, the epic battle between the Justice League and Steppenwolf and the Nightmare, what are those called? The
The
Nightmare,
Parademons.
the Parademons. Yeah, right. So that whole fight was, again, it hit way better because we were leading up to that thing the entire movie. It
Yeah.
wasn't just like an hour in and now we're doing the battle. And but they left out like that family that was still living there for whatever reason. So they left that out, which was great.
Yep.
It
It's
it
not. Oh, go ahead.
yeah, it just more, the focus was more on the battle than anything else. Like the point where because we saw more of Aquaman and we know about Aquaman because of his solo movie and his mannerisms, the way that he acts. So his dialogue was better. Like when he's getting held by Cyborg in the air and he's like, my man. I'm like, in the first movie, I'm like, that's kind of weird, but it made more sense this time around.
Yeah.
Um, and that battle was like 45 minutes long. I mean, this was a big, long battle, and the dynamic and the back and forth between the good and the bad was just so much better. It wasn't just Superman coming in the middle of that fight
Hmm.
to finish it off because he's all powerful and everything. He was there, but really it was Flash and Cyborg. It
Yeah.
was them that were the heroes right here.
Yeah.
They were
Absolutely.
the reasons why they were able to stop Steppenwolf and get the mother boxes ununified.
Yeah. Like, I'm so glad that they stepped up their overall you know uh, their contributions to fulfilling the plot.
Yeah.
With Flash, one thing in the original cut, they made Flash so weak it's not even funny. Like he was scared to go into battle because hey, I've never done battle before, and all
Mm-hmm.
those kind of things. In this version, yeah, he kind of has his like humanity, silly type moments, but he's still very much a hero. He goes in and does what he needs to, and to me that's Flash. And yeah, especially couple parts towards the middle end of the movie with Flash where he has to um, generate enough speed and enough power
Mm-hmm.
to activate the mother box in the change machine in the ship to bring Superman back to life, and then also, bring enough power to, break apart the Unity, and then when he basically has to reverse time to fix everything, and
That was really, really cool.
yeah,
One, not only did he reverse time, but it was like a very slow motion introspective of his conversation with his dad that we got earlier in the movie,
yeah,
which was another crescendo that climax for the Flash and his individual storyline within this movie hit home. I
yeah,
mean, it hit really good.
yeah. Um, Gotta give a shout out to my dude Batman. Have to. And the reason I say that is because in the 2017 cut, when it, basically in the 2017 cut they really crapped on Batman quite a bit, especially when they decided to resurrect Superman.
Hmm.
Everybody was like mad at him. Like I remember there's a scene where it's that same spot where Batman is kind of sitting out, looking out, and he's scoping out everything. In the 2017 cut, Wonder Woman is behind him and basically not talking to him because she's like all super mad because they're going ahead with this plan. Whereas in this version, um, it's more of a consensus. Like everybody's like,
For
yeah, we
sure.
got to do that. Yeah, there's some hesitation right at the very last moment with
Yeah.
on Aquaman's part, but for the most part, they're together,
Well,
and
in
everybody's
Cyborg, he's like, "Holy crap! What are we about to do?" Because he has some sort of like future vision
yeah,
of what it's gonna look like if we bring Superman back and he's evil.
yeah,
So it's like, hey, they all were in, like you said, they're all in, but they all have the reservations. They're like, are we doing the right thing?
yeah.
Yeah,
And in this movie, Batman is very much more the Batman that he should be.
yes, he is.
Whereas, and I get this is the choice that Zack Snyder wanted to make, where with Batman v Superman, this is This is a Batman who is very broken beyond even what he normally is, to the point where he's okay with just killing anybody and everybody, and things like that. Now, towards the end of the movie and the beginning of this movie, he has this restored faith in humanity. There's part of the movie where he's literally talking to Alfred, and he says, "What makes you so sure that Superman's going to come back here and fight alongside?" He says, "Faith, Alfred, faith." And that's the Batman we're looking for. And yeah, I understand Batman's personality in BVS was it rubbed people the wrong way, but it's the story he wanted to tell, and it reached a conclusion. It reached a payoff. Now, there's still some possible issues there, obviously, with the Nightmare timeline. There are things that come to pass where this is very much a broken Batman in survival mode. He still doesn't care about, who he kills at that point, and all those kind of things. But I felt a lot better with who he was as a character in this movie.
And I agree. So going back to BVS, he is this dark, brooding character, and you can see him shift after Superman dies, and how much that he realized that Superman was a friend to him, and the hope that Superman had. And I love the way they did that in the Zack Snyder cut. That Batman's like, "Hey, I have hope in humanity because of Superman.
Yeah.
And I have faith in this team. I have faith that we're going to take down the bad guys and save the world because Superman had hope. I'm going to have hope." And I loved that, like, 180. It was a gradual 180. It wasn't just like I'm going to be a good Superman or good Batman. I love that like dynamic in Ben Affleck's Batman. I absolutely loved that. And I kind of smile, especially that time when he's walking on the plane and he says faith. And I'm like, this is good. This is really good. This makes me feel good that how different this movie was, and how Zack Snyder's vision is fully able to be revealed and shown, like, hey, this is what the movie should have been.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about the nightmare scenes, and a lot of these are extended things that Zack actually came back and did after he had his initial cut. These are things that he added. We talked about this earlier, especially towards the end of the movie in the epilogue, and things like that. First off, with Victor's vision when he he's connected with the Kryptonian ship. And he basically sees this vision of the future where Darkseid actually comes to Earth. He kills Wonder Woman. He kills Aquaman. All you see Wonder Woman burning on this pyre because she's dead at this point. You see him stab Aquaman through the chest with his own trident. You see Superman holding what is assumed to be a very much charred and burnt up Lois Lane. So you're basically seeing the events of what will be the Nightmare timeline played out and how they play out. And then you obviously see Darkseid very much taking advantage of the anti-life equation and the fact that it's taking its effect on Superman and all of those things. And if you're really paying attention, that whole spot where you see him holding Lois's dead body, that's in the Batcave. Because if you look in the back, you see the Robin suit in the background. So Darkseid, Superman, all that kind of stuff, that's going on in the Batcave, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But all that kind of stuff, it's basically a vision of what is to come if things are not set in the right motion. And then obviously the stuff where Bruce is having a dream and he's meeting up with Joker. Jared Leto's Joker is back, and also Deathstroke and Mara and Flash and Cyborg. They're all there, and they're basically, um, on this kind of reconnaissance mission to try to retrieve a mother box. Um, and all of this stuff is very intriguing to me. I think I
Yeah, it
definitely
is.
wanted to see where this was gonna go, um, especially given what Zach has said about future films. Um, I'm definitely interested in seeing how this would have played out. What were your thoughts about it?
Yeah, I think I'm not too familiar with the nightmare scenes. I know of them and the reasons behind them, but
Yeah,
I want to see more. I want to see more of that. Like at the end when they're on their reconnaissance mission and they're just like, oh no, he knows we're here. And
yeah,
then Superman just drops in. He's got his red eyes. You know he's gone to the evil side.
yeah,
And I like I like the Superman being a good guy. I just like that. But
yeah,
the reason why I like the Injustice games because he's the bad guy.
yeah,
And like and because Superman is all powerful, it's good to see him as a bad guy because you see all the other Justice League characters have to get together
yeah,
and figure out a way to either take him down or get the evil out of him somehow. I like that storyline. I do like this. I do like this Superman in this movie coming back, not knowing who he is, and then just kind of getting all of his memories back slowly.
yeah,
It's not like he got all of a sudden all his memories back. So which was nice, but I would love to see where this goes. I
yeah.
would absolutely love to see this. I think we're still getting a Flash movie with Ezra Miller.
We are.
So
Yep.
if because of the this movie and how well it's been received, and we're gonna get a Flash movie, could we get eventually another Justice League 2 that goes through this nightmare sequence? Maybe.
Yeah.
Like it's definitely possible if WB and DC are going to go forward with their movies. Now I know that the Batman movie that is coming out, just I think they just wrapped filming.
They did. Yep.
That's coming out, and it has nothing to do with this universe.
Right.
But who knows? Anything can happen because of this movie.
Yeah, I think it's possible that they could just limit, the DCEU type stuff. Well, no, I take that back because the Flash is going to be a theatrical movie, which we get to see Ben Affleck one more time as Batman, and also Michael Keaton as Batman, which will be quite interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they're going to kind of do some sort of Flashpoint storyline. So who knows how WB is going to handle it? But I mean, I would love to see it, and I think they would be missing out if they're not seeing this. The fact that there is such a major response to this. They would be missing out if they didn't try to, build on this world. And Zach, unfortunately, Zack Snyder wants to say, yeah, as of right now, the 2017 cut is canon. Unfortunately,
Shouldn't be.
it shouldn't be at all. But excuse me. But I really hope WB makes this version canon instead. But yeah, overall, everything is infinitely better. Everything is given room to breathe. The character designs and everything are way better. Like Steppenwolf's design looks much better than the 2017 cut.
Sure is.
He looks very much more menacing. And plus how he goes out is freaking amazing, where Superman pushes him towards a boom tube and then Wonder Woman cuts his head off.
Yeah, that was a really cool ending. Now this movie was 4 hours long,
Yep.
and I was talking with my wife. I'm like, I hope more movies get longer, especially in the superhero movies.
Yeah.
Like we're watching Avengers Infinity War and Endgame. These are like 3 hour movies.
Yeah.
And from when I hear so much where people are like, I wanted more. And I'm the same way. I want more. I love the character development in longer movies because you see more of a backstory And like I said, the climax hits so much better because what was it? The Batman v Superman, the extended cut
Hmm.
is so much better than the shorter cut, like because you can see a little bit more of the backstory and the reasonings behind things.
Yeah, and the cuts
Um,
in that movie were just god awful anyway. Like whoever edited that should be shot. But
so I like TV shows. I like TV shows because I get everyone's backstories. I get them. I get so much more of them, like the WandaVision and the Falcon and the Winter Soldier coming out, Mandalorian. You know, like I want to watch more of that because there is more to watch. And I think there's a reason why they don't do 4-hour movies in movie theaters. But if we're going towards the digital front going forward, why not make those? Why not make because you're filming so much of a movie and so much of it is left on the cutting room floor.
mhm.
Just add that back in. If you want to make a theatrical cut, fine. If your director's cut is 2 hours longer than your theatrical cut, people are going to watch that one. And I think more often than not, the director's cut, the extended cuts are so much better.
Yeah,
Why not continue that road?
sure, absolutely. Yeah, I was just thinking, and of course WB not want to might not want to go out on this route. Like maybe just from this point on, like maybe the DCEU stuff, maybe limit it to HBO Max. I don't know, just because that way if you want to go ahead and do separate universes with like the Batman with Robert Pattinson in like theaters and stuff, but do more of the DCEU stuff on streaming. I mean, you could go that way, and of course, there are people in much higher positions than I am who think about that stuff and think about the marketing of that and all that. So, but it'll be interesting to see where we go from here, just because WB. I think their eyes have been opened to the fact that they should have just left this alone and should have let Zack Snyder do his thing.
Mm-hmm.
Is it for everybody? Yeah, I mean, but that's every movie. Every person's gonna have gripes about it.
Yeah.
I still don't like the way Flash runs in this
Why
movie.
does he run that way?
I don't understand why he's like throwing his arms
Like,
forward and
is
all that
that like he runs that like that throughout the entire movie? I'm like,
yeah.
what is that something I don't know? Am I supposed to be running like that? Because it doesn't look natural.
No, it doesn't look natural at all. But I mean, that's the way it is. I don't know if they're just trying to play up his goofy nature. I don't know. Because obviously before, like that one scene where he's kind of stretching and getting ready, he's kind of doing like yoga type moves,
Yeah.
things like that. They're just playing up his introverted, goofy type nature. So I mean, it still looks weird to me, but that's just a nitpick.
It's a small nitpick. Yeah.
And everybody has their different gripes about. Some people don't like Zack Snyder's aesthetic, the way he films certain things, the way that there's a lot of slow motion elements in these movies, but that's just a Zack Snyder thing. He wants people to pay attention to the detail and things like that.
Yeah, like when they were doing the nightmare scene at the end and the unfocused Joker scene in Batman, I'm like, oh, focus the camera. I can't see anything. It started to hurt my eyes. I'm like, why are you not focusing on the person talking? Why
Yeah.
are you focusing on the sun?
Yeah.
Please move the camera away from the sun.
Zack tends to get a little art house in terms of his movies sometimes. But overall, I think this is a definite recommend. Don't ever, ever, ever
Oh,
pick up Justice League again.
you don't need to.
Don't even touch it. If someone hands it to you, burn it. Just burn
Yeah,
it.
my wife never saw the Justice League movie. She's seen all the other ones: Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, Aquaman, Wonder Woman. She's seen them all. She has not seen Justice League, so which is like the perfect scenario.
Yeah.
She was never a part of the Justice League crap fest.
Yeah. But all right, Pat. Any final thoughts? Anything you want to leave us with?
Yeah, watch this movie.
Yeah.
Watch it, and what's great about it? It's cut into chapters. You don't need to watch all 4 hours. It is the ends of the chapters are great times to stop.
Yeah.
You may not
Absolutely.
want to, but it's great times to stop. It's easier to digest. you're like, okay, I'm gonna watch the first 2 chapters today, next 2 chapters in a couple days, and then you can definitely do that.
Yeah,
Um,
because like you
but
said, it feels more like a mini series that way.
yeah, it definitely does, and that's I loved it that way. But I would give this an 8.5 out of
Yeah,
10. This is not the best movie. It is not a bad movie by any stretch of the imagination. This is a good DC movie.
yeah,
This is
absolutely.
arguably could be arguably the best DC movie out there right now. Well, I don't know about ranking those. There's some older like the Batman '89. That's really good. It's I think it's on par with how good that movie is. As Batman and Zack Snyder's Justice League, they
Yeah,
are the best DC movies out there.
this is arguably the best DCEU movie.
Yeah, there no question.
Yeah. So yeah, we both excuse me, we both definitely recommend that you watch this movie, watch it with friends, take it however you like to, whether you need it in bites or want to sit down and watch the whole thing. We definitely recommend it, and we just wanted to get that out there because Zack Snyder, Deborah Snyder, everybody over in your crew there, we appreciate you guys really sticking this out and being willing to come back and finish this and allow the fans to be able to see this full vision come to life.
Hmm.
So, but guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening to us talk 30 minutes and be all nerds about Zack Snyder's Superman. I mean, not Superman 2, but Zack Snyder's Justice League. Take care, guys. We will see you next time.